The first question, is discrimination a big problem in your country, and have you ever felt discriminated?
In Poland, it isn't a big problem right now because we are a country that belongs to the European Union. The borders are open, so it means that we can travel and there is no discrimination by the color of the skin, by the race. And a little problem is that when we had the previous government, we had a little problem with discrimination of people of different sexual orientation. But right now, it's not a problem at all. There are some intolerant people in my society, but these days, believe me, it's not a problem. We have a lot of different immigrants. We have a lot of people with disabilities. We have a lot of people of different sexual orientation. Even in my school, there are two teachers who are ladies and they live together. Everybody knows it. And there is no problem about it. In the past, it was a huge problem. A lot of gossips or a huge article, even in a local newspaper. What's going on? Two ladies together.
Yeah.
Now it's not a problem.
Okay.
Thanks God, it's not a problem.
Okay, the second question is, what are some examples of invisible disabilities, and are you aware of this?
Yes, I'm a little bit aware of these invisible disabilities. Probably you mean H, AHDA syndrome or some hearing problem. Coming back to the question, yes, I know these invisible disabilities. Probably we don't call these things like that here in Poland, but probably you mean ADHD syndrome, uh, mm, some hearing disorders, vision disorders. Yes, I'm aware of these things, and it's probably everywhere. It's very common everywhere, all over the world.
Okay. Sí.
Recording is on. Bueno, the question number 3.
Mhm.
Are there any legislation in your country regarding disability and accessibility? Could you give
Mhm.
an example?
Mhm. Is it possible that I share a screen with you? Is it possible to share a
Yes,
screen here?
yes, Dorota. Let me know if you can. If not, I
Oh,
touch here too. But I think
okay.
if you
Okay, because I've got a very short presentation, and it's about this topic. And um, hmm, Poland, as I mentioned before, Poland is a member of the European Union, and it's in the whole European Union the same rules, the same legislation. And for example, Poland aims to integrate people with disabilities into the social life, and there is the rule that we have to do it. And Poland with people with disabilities constitute 12.2% of our population. And we support these people as much as possible. And there are some special areas in front of the shopping centers, in front of schools, in front of all public buildings where people with disabilities can park their cars. For example, I will show you in a minute. And people with disabilities receive support, and a lot of support. They get money from the country, not big money, but still they get some money. And for example, the public transport authority in Warsaw, in the capital of Poland, allows disabled people to travel for free, but you need to show documentation proving their disability. And all the museums introduce some rules, I would say, that the admission is lower or free of charge for the disabled. And if the disabled people go with some other people, they get into the museum for free, for example. This is the card they can get. And this is the card which people with different disabilities, especially people who are unable to walk, they put this card behind the windscreen in their cars, and they can park their cars in special places like this. And these, as you can see, these parking lots are much wider than the other parking spaces, much wider. And here is the button that they can press on the bus, on the public bus. Here is, for example, the place on the bus where they can, it's like, I would say, space for wheelchair. And here, for example, there is only one underground system in the capital of Poland, and when you enter this underground platform station, there is special place for people with some problems, people who can't walk, on wheelchairs, for example. So it looks like this here in Poland, okay? So there are some rules, and the rules are not only here in Poland, but in the whole European Union, in other countries in Europe too. So in the past, when Poland was not a member of the European Union, it didn't look like that. When I was your age, it didn't look like this. Now, no problem.
Nice. Okay.
The next is your community. Is your community accessible? Give example.
Okay, so I'm a teacher, and for example, in my school, I teach in secondary school, but I also teach in primary school. In secondary school, for example, you've got a special ramp for people on wheelchairs, for example. You've got some parking lots for these people. Of course, here I mainly concentrate on the problem of disability concerning people on wheelchairs, but we have, especially in public buildings, we have some, I would say, ramps, some things that enable them to move better, to access, for example, public buildings, different schools, things like that.
Another is, are children with special needs and disabilities able to go to some schools as another children?
It's a huge topic, and here I've got a lot to say because I'm a teacher and I know the problem very well. So in Poland, it looks like this: that when a student is a dyslexic student, for example, when a student has, can you hear me? Yes. When a student has ADHD syndrome, when a student has got Asperger's syndrome and different hearing disorder, vision disorder, these students go to special place where there are psychologists, psychiatrists, specialists and they analyze the problem and give their opinion that this student is a dyslexic student. Parents do you understand me? Is it okay?
Yeah.
Or should I speak slower?
No,
Is it okay?
it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. Okay, and parents get this information. And parents can, but they don't have to inform us teachers about this problem. It's better when they say and they inform us about this problem, and mainly they do it. When we teachers get this information, we have to write a special program for them. When it's only dyslexia or uh, ADHD problem, it's not a big thing. So it's not a big problem. But when we have, for example, Asperger, students with Asperger, we as teachers and schools need to take some special steps. What are the steps? We teachers, my headmaster provides a special teacher for this student. And for example, sometimes when I teach English and I've got a group of students, and in this group there is a student with Asperger, I've got another teacher to help this student. And these students have got special classes to improve their problems, to help them. Special hour with specialists, for example, with teachers who know how to how to treat people with hearing problems, vision disorder. They have special classes once a week, probably for 1 hour. Okay, and if a student has got such a problem, for example, Asperger problem, big problem, or disability, parents decide if they go to public school or if they go to special school. We teachers can't say, okay, you have some huge problems, you can't walk, okay, so you don't go to our school, you go to special school. No, it's not a thing. Another thing is that some students get information from this special place where there are psychologists, information that, for example, it's very common these days that students have got phobia, school phobia, and they don't want to go to school. And the problem is that they can commit suicide, different problems. And for example, students with school phobia stay at home, and we teachers teach them at home. We go there and teach them. So it looks like this, but parents decide, not we.
Good.
If they go to public school or if they go to special school.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
is that clear?
Yes, very, very detailed. Thank you, because a lot of information and very, very useful. Really.
Yeah, it looks like this.
Next question.
Do you know something about digital accessibility? Tell about it.
Okay. What kind of disability? You mean? Can you repeat the question, please?
Sorry. Do you know something about digital accessibility? Tell about it.
Digital accessibility.
Yes. I know something about it, but I have no idea how it works. Digital accessibility means that some tools, some applications, some computer programs, or even computers are in a way adjusted to people who are disabled. But to be honest, I've never met such a thing in my life. I've never used such tools, so I have nothing to tell you about it. I can tell you one more thing. For example, when a student at school can't write legibly, and it's a problem. It's also a kind of disability that they can't write properly, that we can't read their handwriting. Do you understand? Yeah. And when they have school leaving exam, they can ask for writing the exam on the computer.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, but again, parents decide if they want to do that or not. They don't want to do it. And I often, not often, but sometimes when I correct different exams, because I'm also examiner, I encountered such works written on the computer. And all the exams, school leaving exams, are adjusted to people with disabilities. For example, some students get more time to write a test, or Asperger students, it looks fantastic because Asperger students have got a lot of pages of exam paper because they get confused when there is a lot of information on one page. So each task on a separate page. But again, parents decide. We teachers say that it's possible, and parents decide, and then they get special exam papers
Nice.
depending on ability.
Thank you. Next question.
Okay, do you discuss about inclusion, empathy, special needs at school? Could you give some details?
In our schools, every week, each group of students, each class, has got so-called teachers' hour, because you know that each group of students has got their proper teacher, class teacher, and they have once a week a teacher's hour with their teacher. And then there is a special program, and they discuss inclusion, empathy, violence, internet violence, different things, tolerance. But it's in the program of each teacher who has got this teacher's hour, their own group. Okay, I, for example, right now I'm only an English teacher. I don't supervise any group of students.
Good. Good.
Okay.
But we talk about it, yes.
The next question is: are there any subject or activity to talk about or and learn about inclusion at school or in your community? Tell about it.
It's related.
Okay, so
Yeah, it's related with what you said, right?
yes, that we have got these programs in our schools, and our school year starts in September, we finish in June. And for the whole year, we have to plan what we want to talk about. But sometimes problems crop up, and then we have to adjust to the problem. But there is a special program, and we talk about it. Sometimes we invite different people to talk about the problem, some psychologists. Sometimes we, for example, we invite some theater groups to school to talk about addiction, for example, some former drug addicts, alcohol addicts, different things happen. We talk about different things, but probably more about violence, addiction, inclusion too, but it's not a problem because my students can see that people Students who are disabled go to school with other students. Now it's quite normal.
Are you familiar with easy reading and its benefits? Tell about it. If you are, is your answer is yes, could you give example where is it used?
I have no idea what it is, to be honest. Whenever I hear easy reading, for me, it's a little book for little kids to read before going to bed. It's like this. It's a short story for a kid. Or in English, when I'm an English teacher, easy reading is a story that is easy to read.
And the last.
Can you mention
Okay.
some positive changes you have experienced in your community towards inclusion?
Of course, when you have a look at me, you can see that I'm not that young. I used to live in the communism time when things like disability, Asperger's syndrome, I don't know, hearing disorder, it didn't exist at all when I was a kid. When I was a student and I graduated from secondary school, can you imagine it? Then one of my colleagues didn't pass her school leaving exams only because she was dyslexic, and it was dyslexia was something quite new, just like from outer space. But now everything is different. Now Poland is in the European Union. We used to have closed borders. We couldn't travel west. We could only travel to Russia, Bulgaria, and it was it. We didn't know the world at all. Can you imagine it, that in the past, when I was a kid, I saw some people with black skin? It was something that, oh my goodness, who is it? What is it? It was like a shock for me. But now it's normal. Now in Poland, there are a lot of different immigrants. Now we travel to different countries. Now we know the law, we know the problem, and we know that people of different, for example, of the same sex can live together. In Poland, they can't marry. In Poland, they can't have children. Now it's a huge debate about it. Okay, but it's not a problem. In the past, people of the same sex had to go west to live free and to live normally. Now it's not a problem. So things are better these days, I think.